Okay, so this is lesson 62. It's estimating arithmetic or arithmetic answers with rounded and compatible numbers. Estimating can help us tell whether your calculated answer is reasonable. So a lot of times if I'm going shopping and I find a sweater I like and it's on sale, I'll do kind of an estimated answer of how much I'll have to pay, and I'll have to see, is that something I want to pay or not? So a lot of times it's very helpful to estimate before you actually calculate the answer. And then you can see if they kind of match, if they're close. And then if they're not, you know something went wrong along the way. So I like the idea of using estimation to help you figure out whether you have reasonable answers. Example 1 says, estimate the product of 29 and 19. Okay, so product means multiply, right? So I'm going to multiply these. Arithmetic can mean addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. So that's kind of weird, isn't it? Sounds like it just ought to be arithmetic. But 29 and 19. So I'm going to round these numbers. Remember, I'm going to mark my place. I'm going to look to the left, the furthermost left number. So in this case, it's the tens place. And I'm going to say 29. Mark my place, look next door. Is that 5 or greater? Yes. So I'm going to add one more to my marked place. And then it becomes 30. Mark my place, look next door, 5 or greater, add one more. So that becomes 20. So if I multiply 20 times 30, I can think in my head 2 times 3 is 6. And then I have 2 zeros, so I'm just going to hook them on. So 20 times 30 is 600. So that's easy, right? Okay, then they ask you, is the estimate, so this estimate isn't the real answer, because really I was multiplying 29 times 19, right? So is this estimate greater or less than the actual product? Well, since I rounded up, I know when I multiply 29 times 19, it's going to be a little bit less than 600, because I gave it a little more juice when I did 20 and 30, right? Okay, example 2 says, estimate the sum of a bunch of money. So when I'm doing money, I'm going to round it to the nearest dollar, and they told us that. So this is weird. Normally you go to the further left number, but they gave us dollar. So $8.95 is going to round to $9, right? $7.23, I'm going to mark my place, look next door. That's not 5 or greater, is it? So I can just chop off the rest and let that rest. So $7. Here, I'm going to mark the ones place, right? So I'm going to look next door. Is that 5 or greater? Let's do that down here, bigger. So I'm going to mark my dollar place. This would be my tens dollars. 5 or greater, add one more? Nope, so I don't. I can just chop that off. So plus 11. And then I have $6.89 down here. So that's going to round to 7. So I'm going to rearrange these in my head. Remember how we talked about doing that? So I'm going to add those two first. What's 9 plus 11? 20. What's 7 plus 7? 14. So I know my estimate is going to be $34. I could have said 9 plus 7 is 16 plus 11 plus 7, but it's easier to use those matching numbers that make up tens or easy to do numbers. Either way, this is just slightly faster for me. It might not be for you if you have to look at that so long that you can't figure it out. You get better with practice, but don't worry about it if that didn't automatically come to you, okay? Example 3 says, estimate the perimeter. Okay, so I know, let's think about to the nearest 10 millimeters. So there's my 1 millimeters, there's my 10 millimeters. So I'm going to mark my place, the tens place, look next door. Is that 5 or greater? No, so it's going to round down. Is that 5 or greater? Yes, so it's going to round up. So when I'm estimating, ooh, that's much sloppier, sorry. I'm going to say this side is 30, this side is 80. But what's that side? Because remember, perimeter's all the way around like a fence. 30 and 80. So, I can do that, right? So I'm going to say 30 plus 30 plus 80 plus 80. So that would be 60 plus 160 equals 220. Did I put a label on there? Nope. Mrs. Snyder will get mad if you don't put a label on there. She'll give you points off. All right, so 220 millimeters is my estimate for my perimeter. Does that sound reasonable? Yeah, that'd be about right. So 100, 200, yeah, that'd be about right. Okay, example 4, we're going to do it slightly differently. So we're going to use compatible numbers instead. So it says an average cat weighs about 14 pounds. My sister had one that weighed 23 pounds. He was a giant cat. An average porpoise weighs about 103 pounds. So about how many more pounds does the porpoise weigh than the cat? Notice the about, so that tells me I'm able to estimate. If I think about this 103 as 104, that's going to make it pretty easy, isn't it? So I'm going to say 0, and 10 minus 1 is 90, so about 90 pounds. I could round this, and that's going to round to 100, and that's going to round to 10, so 100 minus 10, I'm going to get the same answer. But sometimes it's helpful to be able to use compatible numbers. Rounding and estimating and figuring out when you use compatible numbers and when you just round numbers, you want to get as close as you can to the answer easily. So there's a little bit of leeway in how you do it, and Mrs. Snyder will talk to you about that. But if you can explain what your thinking is, she's not going to mark you wrong. Just do the best you can on that, okay? Good luck.